What's going on? Welcome to Fight for the Title and the NFL Week 4 takeaways. I must say this is one of the most unpredictable seasons I have ever seen. There are always unusual outcomes to games in the NFL, but they just seem to be happening more often this season. So let's get into the first takeaway from Week 4. This is the second week in a row the Minnesota Vikings make my top takeaways list. It's for good reason. This week they looked again like one of the top teams in the league. They started the game off creating a quick lead of 28-0. At halftime, they still had a 3-score lead against their division rival Green Bay Packers. In the second half, the offense stalled out a bit, but that doesn't change the fact that they were able to build such a convincing lead. And you can't take away the fact that it's a division game as well. Sam Darnold looked great in the first half, along with their wide receiver Jordan Addison, who just returned from an injury too. I have said it before, and I will say it again, no one expected this from the Vikings this year. Darnold is having a complete career revival in the first 4 games this season. He threw an interception that I will talk about in just a minute. Outside of that, he looked very solid. Right now, he has to be seriously considered in the MVP conversations. Looking back, the Packers probably shouldn't have started Jordan Love. He still didn't look 100% the whole game. I have to give credit again to Brian Flores' defense, though. They had the Packers nearly shut out before half. I would actually go as far to say they did have the Packers shut out before half. The reason the Packers scored is because of a mistake by the Minnesota special teams unit. Now back to the interception I was talking about. Let me pause and compose myself. That was not an interception. I don't care if you love or hate the Packers. That was not anywhere close to a turnover. I'm not sure I've ever seen a call like that not get turned over before. He clearly had his elbow out of bounds by the time he gained any sort of possession of the ball. And if that isn't bad enough, they reviewed the play. They had plenty of time to look it over and see that they got the initial call wrong on the field. And still, they did not overturn the call. It was an absolutely awful call, and the NFL should be ashamed of it. But I digress. Overall, the Vikings are on a roll now, and they head to London to face their old nemesis, Aaron Rodgers, and the New York Jets. Don't forget, Sam VP. Oh, how far we've come from Week 2. Just 2 weeks later, and we have a whole different outlook on the New Orleans Saints. Week 1, they played the Panthers, so we had to be skeptical with that. But after the Week 2 showing, it looked like they were actually going to be contenders this year. Now, it looks like that assessment was completely wrong. They may still be fine this year, but they are not the highly flashy team that many, including myself, thought they were possibly shaping up to be this year within the first couple weeks. They lost 26-24 against the Atlanta Falcons this week. That is an Atlanta Falcons team that has been struggling as of late and is still trying to find their identity. It was a close game, but their offense looked depleted compared to the first couple games this season. I think they have a chance to compete for first in the division still, but it's going to make it more difficult now that they are a game back from the Falcons. They have a true challenge coming up this next week against the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football. We will learn a lot about their team in that game, but as of right now, they look like complete frauds. Let me just preface the rest of this conversation with acknowledging that the Chiefs are 4-0. I also just said that the Saints have their work cut out for them when they face the Chiefs on Monday night this week. Now that that's out of the way, we can have a truthful conversation. I won't go so far as to say they are frauds because I think that's far from the truth. But they do not look like the same Chiefs this season. They are winning ugly and have been bailed out by the refs a couple of times. I understand that a win is a win, and I also agree with that statement, so I won't take that away from them. At the same time, though, it is a long season, and they have had some ugly wins. They barely beat the Los Angeles Chargers in a defensive slugfest. That's a team that isn't exactly known for their great defensive play. If we're looking for a silver lining, though, it's that Kansas City is not full strength personnel-wise. They have multiple star players out, which doesn't help their situation. But even when they did have most of their talent on the field, they still didn't seem like the same team from the past couple Super Bowl seasons. I know they're looking to three-peat this season, but if they continue to play like they did this week, that is going to be an uphill battle. Week 4 bonus takeaways are in order, so let's start by revisiting my take from Week 1. It initially looked like it aged like milk weeks 2 and 3, but now I'm back to being right. Aaron Rodgers looked very bad again this week. The Broncos have a decent defense, but that does not excuse Aaron Rodgers' play this week. He completed just 24 passes of 42 attempts, with no touchdowns and an ending quarterback rating of 31.6. Like I've said before, he is getting old and is not the same player he once was. Even looking at his wins this season, he's only looked good in one of them. In a low-scoring affair, Rodgers could only lead the Jets to 9 points as they fell 10-9 to the Bo Nix-led Denver team. They're going to win games with Aaron, but they can't be taken seriously as contenders with that kind of performance. The second bonus takeaway this week is clowning on another announcer. This week's announcer is Chris Collinsworth. I know, I'm going at low-hanging fruit here, but it's just so hard to listen to. He said at the end of the Ravens-Bills game that Lamar Jackson shouldn't be looked at as a running quarterback and is a better pocket passer than people realize. That statement in itself is just ridiculous. Lamar is praised for his running ability and his running style. That is literally the thing that sets him apart and has won him MVPs, whether deserved or not. We need announcers like Collinsworth to stop trying to shoehorn in narratives that aren't there. He tried to make it seem like Lamar Jackson is a pure pocket passer, which just isn't the case. And that's why Chris Collinsworth gets the Lol Cow Announcer of the Week award. Congratulations! Anyways, that's all for this week. Let me know your thoughts and takes in the comments below. Subscribe for more NFL news and content. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.